special guest for you tonight.
Hello, we've been expecting you.
This is not a test. Your government and corporate overlords have implemented new measures for your own health and safety. We are just following orders.
Everything is going to be fine.
I'd like to introduce...
Welcome, everyone.
What's up?
Jake, how you doing? How's it going, man? We're going to start with the banger of the show. Let's do it.
I know.
I don't know.
Derek's bringing the heat.
Derek has started off the show strong, my friend. Derek, welcome, man. So I've been reading a lot about the history of libertarianism. I see where you're coming from, and it's good. God damn right, it's good. Welcome to the dark side, Derek.
That makes me feel good. That's nice.
That's like the warmest, fuzziest thing, and it makes me feel even worse about what's going to happen in a month. Now I feel like shit. God damn it. That's like if we could only just touch one person. We touched you, Derek. Thank you.
Derek, do you hear that?
You're touching us, dude. And Derek, you're touching us because like you shared some stuff with us that like makes you know what I mean, gives us angles to really look at. So we appreciate the engagement.
That's awesome, Derek. I'd love to hear more about like what you looked up to, and like what you're reading, because I'm interested for sure.
So just a really quick aside: the If by Whiskey, our final episode is going to be the 13th with Natalie Morris of Redacted. However, are we willing, Jake? You and I are willing to have a conversation with Derek if he wants to jump on sometime after that, right?
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to talk with Derek and get to know more for sure.
So we have an open invite. If like we do maybe like a pre-interview, just like a pre-chat, just to make sure, because not everybody's the same on the video is like talking, not good, bad, or indifferent. We've just from experience, but I think that would be awesome. So let's keep that open. And then we've got we're going to be doing Freedom Fest, so we'll talk about all this stuff in the future. But welcome, William's here. Music. Hey guys, music. I like it. I wonder what kind of music I wonder if they like your music, Jake. You want to put a little bit of your music on?
I'm assuming it's a yes. I just wonder what kind it is, or if it's just all music.
If it's just all music, it's totally good.
I have so many different styles of music that I listen to that it's like when people say, what do you like? I hate to give that answer of like everything, because I don't like everything, but I do like every style of music. I like some more than others, but it all depends on a mood, and I can find something good in every genre of music, even genres I normally wouldn't listen to. There's always like good artists in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you're a musician. So you're a drummer, right?
Drummer, guitar player, singer. Yeah.
Oh, guitar. Okay. So I kind of put musicians in two categories, like more instrumental and more vocal. Like obviously people who play, sing, people who sing, play. But like you've got like I'm a vocal guy. Like it has to sound, the vocals have to sound a certain way to me. So when I hear that, like the feeling, if I hear soul in the music, that hits me way harder than like the music part. So I find the music part, the instrumental part, to sometimes interfere with that for me because I lean more that way. Which way would you lean more on the music side, or would you lean like the vibe of the feel, the rhythm,
It's honestly kind of, it's like sitting down or going to a salad bar, right? So like you can have your staples and your go-to stuff that you like, but when or like a good meal, when it's like a 4-course meal and every single course is perfect, you're like, this is the best meal I've ever had. There's some songs I like because I love the riffs, or I love the rhythm to something, or like the kind of cadence to it. And then there's some stuff I like that the music's all right, but the lyrics and vocals are amazing. But when it all comes together in one package, that to me is like the top tier of stuff. And I know I'm going to break Rob's heart, but that's Led Zeppelin for me. Led Zeppelin's the top of the mountain. And Rob said the other day he doesn't like Robert Plant, and I cried a little bit on the inside. But
so you're talking about just the power of the music, the power of his vocals actually matched.
Yeah, power like they go together. It's like a zipper coming together. Like everything fits and goes together perfectly. And you know, there's something like I have so many bands that I like across so many genres. I was listening to some old blues before we got started here tonight, but you know, like I'm a big Deftones fan, and Deftones to me, like I really kind of nerd out on some of. I've been following them since the '90s when they started, and it's like the drummer's amazing and kind of unconventional in ways. You know, their singer really was a rapper before and now sings, and you know, their guitar player plays 7-string guitars, and he doesn't play anything that's like, there's no shredding guitar solos and stuff, but the riffs that he comes up with are really unique and you know, kind of like little boutique riffs that you wouldn't hear in like heavy music normally. So all that stuff together, and they've had a few different bass players because their first bass player died. But that's just one example. And when it all comes together for me, that's when it's like it really stands out. But I mean, man, I listen to so much like hip hop. I listen to like a lot of punk rock. I listen to really quiet, like what you'd call like folk music. I mean, I'm across the board. It really depends on a mood. Okay, here's a perfect example. There's a Beck album, and I'm not even a huge Beck.
It's not Odelay, is it?
No. There's a Beck album, and I think it's called Morning Phase. Let me see. And it's like the whole Morning Phase from 2014. The entire album was written so that every song goes into the next song. And it's like if you woke up in the morning and push play, the feel of the music is like the first 2 hours of your day. And it's all conceptual stuff. And Beck's really good about that. Like every album has a different sound and a different style. But that album specifically, like when I used to smoke a lot of weed, I would get up in the morning and just start smoking weed and listen to that. And it was like, that was the starting the day off right, man.
Yeah, it's funny because you talk about like mood. When you feel a mood, you look for a song. But then sometimes you're like, I need to get put into a certain mood.
Yep.
And you're like, I know what gets me here, there. Like, if I need to be angry and like clean shit, give me 9 Inch Nails. Give me Pretty Hate Machine. Not this, not Closer and all that other shit. Give me the pre-pop industrial Ring Finger, and give me Head Like a Hole. Give me, you know, just give me that. And I just like gets the blood going, and then you just go.
I'm really the thing I'm the most particular about with vocals is heavy metal music or metal, because I'm not a big fan of like the growling kind of stuff. Like to me, it's like you sound like a garbage disposal. Like it doesn't sound. I get that there's a talent to it, and there are some bands that I do like that do that. So I'm a bit of a hypocrite, but when it comes to metal, like I like singers that sing, even if the music's really brutal and heavy. I like singers that sing, but I like Lamb of God too. And Lamb of God's a lot of growling, and you know, but there's a band I ran into the other day called Terror, and my YouTube music like suggested it for me. And I was mowing the lawn, and it was like the perfect mowing the lawn music. It was super aggressive, like punk rock and metal mixed, and was like, it was very intense music. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And it was just one of those suggestions. So I'm all about it. What's Derek say about Zeppelin?
Previous co-host of Beer Googles and Not Conscious, Chris. Oh wow, how did that happen? Let me try something here. Hold on. Try regular. Is that working?
There you go. That's better.
Oh, there we go. That'll work.
Your time has got to come, Led Zeppelin. Absolutely. That's such a good song.
So I'm a Dire Maker guy.
Yeah.
Something about it. It's just got that. It's the thing. There's just a vibe to it. It's a vibe.
That drum part. Okay. So Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I was 5. My grandmother was like a world-class pianist, like amazing. She ended up getting arthritis really bad, and she could play with like 2 fingers on each hand and would still play better than most people. So she gave me lessons when I was a kid, and I played piano from like 5 to 9. Learned how to read piano music, and it was okay. I learned the standard stuff, but I never really was like passionate about it. And then I heard John Bonham, I heard Led Zeppelin. And when I heard those drums, I was like, I want to play drums. And my dad was awesome. My dad got me a drum kit. I started taking lessons from a guy at our church. And I took, I think, about 2 lessons. 1 or 2 lessons. and I would sit in our garage with Led Zeppelin records, like the vinyl, put the big over the ear headphones on, like kind of like what you got, but the older ones with the cord on them. And
Yeah.
I would play until I got those parts right. And I really cut my teeth playing drums on John Bonham, and Jamaica is one of the best songs to play to.
It's got that cadence. There's some cool like parts in it. It's really cool. So let's go back to work. You're pulling this up. So nominee for president, Governor Weld. I'm not familiar with Governor Weld. Maybe you can.
Yeah, he was a previous nominee. So Derek's doing some deep dives, which is awesome. I love to see that. And Derek, I can't say this enough. Like, we're all about ideas and all about people talking about stuff and learning. And we may not always see eye to eye, even Mark and myself, but the fact that people are on a journey and learning and doing some homework and learning about things, reading about them and educating themselves, even if it's stuff they don't agree with, is your aces in my book, man. I appreciate that.
And the only thing,
you notice I'm rocking the Clint Russell hat tonight.
Oh, Afafo. America first and only, kind of. So regarding this, can we give Derek some homework? Like, first of all, Derek, I'm an audiobook guy. I don't like to read. I did an 8-part book review with Scott Horton's Provoke. It took me all my strength just to get through.
Like 5 years to do that.
Oh my God, it took forever. And it's on my head was like, whoa. But Murray Rothbard, Anatomy of the State. It's short, it's sweet, it just tells you, and just like you said, like you're saying, it's good. These things you'll read or hear it, whatever, and it's like ding, ding, ding. And it'll just be like these little pops, little pops of epiphanies all throughout that. So that is a perfect next step, in my opinion. That's actually a great step for everyone to get into it, just to be like, hey, wait a minute, what's the state thing that everybody talks about? So
I would also say there's Mises wrote a bunch of books, but there's a really small one. It might be on my shelf about money. That's a really good one to read. And then also Ron Paul's End the Fed is an amazing book. And that really kind of lays it out. And even Suzanne Sherman's book that we had on about decentralization, that's an amazing book too. And it's a good, easy read in a good way, not like elementary, but it's an easy to digest read. And I really liked that book.
I totally get it. I'm communicating with our potential guest, so we're having some technical difficulties, so apologies on the typing. But anyway, so let's take a look. Okay, I had to pull this up. This thing, you remember Obama's Operation Fast and Furious?
I remember there's like 10 Fast and Furious movies, but I don't know if I remember that operation.
Okay. So Fast and Furious, and you'll know it once we start talking, but basically there was this war on drugs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the ATF thought it was a brilliant idea to take really awesome guns that Americans can't buy on themselves, for example, really high-end stuff, throw trackers on them, give them to the cartels, and then hunt them down one by one.
Okay.
Brilliant strategy.
Yeah, sure.
The only hiccup there was, like, I mean, I don't know how no one could have thought what could happen is like they just took the trackers off once they got the guns. So welcome downstairs. You all right? We're just finishing up here, but hang out down in the back there in the green room. We have our guest. So they thought it would be brilliant. So basically they got all these guns for free. Now, I think that Obama should have been impeached for that.
Oh, I mean, that's one thing on a list of many.
One of many, but just giving guns away, like, first, we hold the Second Amendment sacred, do we not?
Of course.
Actually, before I play this video, let's bring up our guest. First of all, I'm happy to welcome. I don't know this person's story, but I know there's a story, and I know there's a lot of stuff. So we're gonna welcome this person on. Toni Bones, welcome to If by Whiskey.
Hello.
Bring you up here.
I'm so sorry I'm late.
No pressure.
No worries. No worries.
It's been a weird week.
It's like your first one. No worries. So
I'll try
we're-
whiskey
so we're
next
just
time. That'll
not-
help.
So we'll warm you up. We'll give you the softball one because we
All
were
right.
talking about this thing with Obama. Now, I like to say that we find the Second Amendment to be highly sacred to us. So why the fuck are we giving just guns away to fucking people that we were supposed to fight? First of all, it's like, I mean, it's like the most antithetical. So let me show you what our illustrious Jesus figure, I'm sorry, Branch Trumpetian compound. Where's he at? We should call the ATF, dude. I swear to God, we should be like, there's a cult at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I just know it. The Branch Trumpetians. All right, so let me share what our glorious leader, exalted leader, told us here. Let me find it here, and then hopefully we can talk.
Don't have guns. You know, we sent some guns, but the group that was supposed to give, which I said would happen to my people, I said it, I called it exactly. We sent guns, a lot of guns. They were supposed to go to the people so they could fight back against these thugs. You know what happened? The people that they sent it to, they said, what a beautiful gun, I think I'll keep it. So I'm very upset with this certain group of people, and they're going to pay a big price for that.
A certain group of
Nobody
people.
sends me any guns for some reason. I just have one. That's really unfortunate.
Like, it's the only guy who can be bamboozled and then take credit for knowing that he was going to be bamboozled, still do it, and then still say that they're going to get punished. Like, I knew it was going to happen. I knew we were going to get fucked.
Well, that's why they did it.
No, we did it
That's why.
anyway. Fuck it.
I know that's
thoughts?
why. It's gonna, it's the same thing with, I mean, when you have these monopolies on protection, you're gonna breed corruption and abuse. It happens every time. So and they have to keep their need for them to stay relevant, or something. I don't know. I guess it's similar to law enforcement, I guess. That was kind of one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard too. But nobody sends me guns. That's really unfortunate. If they want to, PO Box 11, Forest Falls, California 92339.
You're in a good spot. Did you say Forest Falls?
I am.
Oh, I was gonna say you look like you're on like a porch looking out into the forest. That's what it looks like.
I am.
Oh, see,
Oh,
I nailed it.
I
I'm
am.
jealous.
I-
That's it. Forest Falls.
I can smell the lack of smog in the air. I can just smell it.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's my fault. It's actually a new habit of sorts. Not particularly proud of it, but
a
anyway.
new habit. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't start till 40.
3 months. I think I've been smoking cigarettes. It's been a weird.
But the nicotine,
It's
it's
been
not.
weird.
Do you have like natural ones? Or are you trying to get as natural as possible?
Yeah,
and have
it's
one handled and stuff, or-
it's I mean, natural American spirits. It's about as good as you
Yeah.
can get from the gas station.
I-
Nicotine is a
like
powerful
American
nootropic. It's been used for thousands of years. It's valuable. I'm looking at like getting an MS diagnosis, and
I agree.
so it's
Nicotine's,
beneficial actually.
amazing.
Yeah, we're still trying to get Alp. Look, okay, I will. If Alp calls us on the 12th of May and says we got a thing, we're gonna keep going, right, Jake? I promise you, man. I promise you. Just keep going. So Tony, welcome to If by Whiskey. Jake, did you want to start off? Do you have a question right off the bat, or
I was just gonna say, like, you're painting a picture with the front porch vibes, and I'm genuinely curious to learn about you. I was reading your X page after Mark said you were coming on the show. I was like, man, she sounds super interesting. Like Mark said, I don't know anything about you, but it definitely seems like there's a story there. So wherever you want to start, we want to know.
Let's see. I think I first became like, I don't know if you know what Cop Block is. It was a decentralized organization of a diverse group of people that really taught people their rights, how to record law enforcement safely. It did kind of get taken over towards the end. Well, it's kind of a salty story.
I remember
But-
Cop Block. I remember hearing it. I remember the kind of general idea of it.
Yeah, probably one of my biggest things was I lived in Sugar Creek, Missouri, and I had these tire planters in my front yard. And I was making breakfast one morning, and I noticed there was men in costumes, just bulletproof vests and just highly armed, walking through my yard and my neighbor's yard, just looking for ways to extort money from people. So I went out there and started recording, and they told me that I had to get rid of my tire planters, or that there were tires at that time. And I'm like, yeah, no, actually, I'm not going to do that. And so that all manifested into Sugar Creek, Missouri had never had so much mainstream media attention up until that point. And so I was ready to go. I did my little tire planters. Yeah, and then by the time I got to court, I mean, there was the news there, everything. When I got to court, there were tire planters that were made by the police chief and his niece as a gesture of respect.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
it was a really interesting experience. I doubt the tire planters are still there, but yeah, I was looking at 30 days because I refused to give them any money. I was not going to give my family's already scarce resources towards,
Who were they?
thugs.
Did they identify themselves, or were they cops, or like
Sugar Creek Police Department?
Oh my God!
Yeah, and then but by the end
So
of
the
it,
police are just walking through yards looking for people doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. They were at that point. To be fair, at that point they were under these stairs. They were there since I moved into that place. It was, a shitty little place. But I was young. I had kids, and I was, my thought process was I could pay this off, and it was a home that nobody's going to be able to take from me because I was done with that, and being dependent. I found myself in that very same place where I'm done being dependent on men or anyone. But yeah, so Fairleigh, when they first came, they were not tire planters. By the time they came back next, they were, and they're like, "Well, you're gonna have to move." I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to. So why don't you just write your little thing, and we'll take this to court." And yeah, by the end of it, the police chief loved me. So did the poor guy. His name was Jerry Garcia. He passed away since then. But I was a little shit, but I was good intentioned, and yeah. So I guess the biggest thing was probably the tire planters. It was on CNN and all of that. Single mom looking at jail time for tire planters.
You made it to CNN?
I did.
What year was this? Because I want to look. I'm going to look back into the archive footage because
2013 or 2014, maybe 2014.
Because I heard a podcast that you were on about the planners, and I knew that was just the beginning of it because we're not only independent, we're highly disagreeable, we're autistic, and we tell everybody to go fuck themselves. So I can tell that you had a history of people not feeling rubbed the correct way after experiencing some of your independence. So
we do rub a certain personality disorder quite the wrong way, and that's okay. Authenticity bothers the right people, and it's important that we pay attention to this. And yeah, I'm still dealing with that at approaching 40, but so that was probably my biggest thing, the CNN and all of that. And then I did let's see, there was the Ferguson thing where I went to Ferguson. This was before Black Lives Matter got there. Okay, at that point,
this is Ferguson, Missouri, correct? This is where they had the shooting and the riots and everything.
Yeah, I brought magnesium.
Remember Robin Williams died that week? That was a really tragic week.
I don't remember. That probably was. Yeah, that was a weird week. I got there right when it happened, and everybody was
in
working
Wilsonville,
together.
Oregon, of all places. When that happened, it's crazy.
Yeah, man, mental health, it's a thing. I don't know. Maybe you knew something. I don't know. I'm just a peasant. I don't know what's going on out there, but I'd imagine.
What happened at Ferguson? Tell us about what you did in Ferguson.
Well, when
I'd love to hear the push pull, like what you do, how a certain type of people, control people, whatever, react or whatever, and this kind of dance. It's kind of like a tennis match.
I noticed right around then, BLM. I knew for a fact I'd been working, grassroots and seeing how hard it was to get people off their couches and to like go and do these things, even people that care about these things, And then all of a sudden, BLM started crashing my my protests, to try to hijack my media, and I got so much shit. But I called it out. I said, BLM, there's something fucking weird with that. When I got to Ferguson, there was no racism. None of that. There's plenty of footage. We were all working together. People were giving us food. I brought, milk and magnesium and water and showed people how to make a 50-50 thing, to deal with tear gas and all that. And then after I left, the Cassandra Fairbanks or Cassandra Rules or that woman, speaking of people I rubbed the wrong way. And then BLM got there. And the next thing I know, there's fucking fires, all of that. When I got there, the fire to the Quick Trip had happened. But I'm telling you, we were all working together, sweeping things up. There was no racism. I'm translucent, okay? If there was going to be racism, I was going to encounter it. I did not encounter any racism. it was not like that until BLM or whatever that was got there. Because I tell you, I know how hard it is to get hundreds of people anywhere. Those people were paid, and they were prepared. And now, I mean, I guess we know now kind of what. Yeah, it was weird. I called
we're
it.
starting to see connections all the way up the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like, it's really odd how this person knows that person, like the who is it? The Vegas shooting sheriff goes to Maui. Oh, right before the fires. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Sounds great. And then, and failing upward and all this weird stuff. And you're like, how does this happen? And they all know each other. They all know each other. And it's weird that we don't know that they know each other, but they do. And it's just
we're so busy just trying to survive, and that's the point,
Hey, Mark, I found something cool.
Oh, nice. What you got?
I found something cool. Check this out.
All right. What you got?
May have seen them old tires repainted. While some call it recycling, others call it trash. The one that might eventually suffer behind bars. KCTV5's Ellen Shope explains.
It's a conflict in Sugar Creek that's got a lot of tread on it.
I'm really interested in recycling and repurposing it.
Resident Toni Bones was wanting to recycle several old tires and make them into planters.
I don't own the land, I own my place, so I knew that I can't till up the ground or anything, so I wanted to focus on just what I can do with what I have.
But Sugar Creek didn't like the idea of her storing the tires around her home, so they issued a warning.
They just said that they need to go.
We'd ask her to put them somewhere else because there were
somewhere
a
else.
Number of them.
The city was quick to point out they didn't mind the tires being used for planters. It's the number of tires she was storing that was the real issue.
We kind of try to keep people from accumulating tires because they retain water and they attract mosquitoes.
So the city wrote her a citation. Bones says she got the idea online and it takes time to finish a project like this. She adds on principle she's choosing to not pay the fine. Now, she has a court date next week. She says she could end up in jail for just wanting to recycle. Since the last citation, Bones has moved the majority of the tires, storing some inside an old truck.
There were
She admits
3 tires.
she's still set on using the tires, and for her to cave in now would send the wrong message to her kids.
I don't want my kids to see me back down and not follow my heart.
Bones will get her day in court, but one thing is for sure, the whole experience has not deflated her plans. In Sugar Creek, Alan.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Scotch, rub it down. Drink.
I love local news. I love like the puns they got to use. That's the best.
Dad joke central.
He's a good friend of mine.
Says, we try and keep people from accumulating tires.
The mosquitoes.
Yeah.
The mosquitoes are
And
bad.
you had three whole tires, like three whole tires. Jeez.
Yeah.
And you're like, and they came back, and you're like, they're no longer stored, they're out, and they have stuff in them. So
I'm sorry, Tony. I had to do. When I found that, I was like, I got to play this.
Oh,
no,
good.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah, I've got a few.
How's that feel? Do you get like instant like nostalgia on that? Because I've never seen myself on any kind of like film footage on the news.
Yeah. I think it'd be really good for me at this point in my life to go back and re-listen to my podcasts and stuff. I've got a lot going on. I've about finished a book. Just kind of, well, that's a long story. I do want to apologize for not being here earlier. I'm on some weird. How do I say this? I'm on some weird.
No
shit
worries,
with
it's our MO.
Gabapentin.
It's our
and some
MO.
other
We
things.
got.
I just got diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia, I guess.
Wait, with what?
Trigeminal neuralgia, or TN. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Is that like a fibromyalgia type thing? Or is that
It's one of the worst. They call it the suicide disease. It's literally the worst pain you can experience in medical literature. So I sucked it up and I went to the doctor, and so now I'm on gabapentin and I don't know. It takes a lot for me to go to the doctor. It's kind of a blessing to understand, because I've had some issues and flares, for the last however many, years of my life. I'm not trying to go all dark or whatever, but it's good to know. It's something to do with the myelination and just my nerves misfiring. And yeah, so like I've been taking this stuff, but I've been weird. I mean, I feel like I'm on a boat. You know that song, I'm on a boat, motherfucker? I've been playing that lately. You know what I'm talking about? It's Lost Lonely Boys or something like that. So yeah, I've been
okay.
even sober. I'm like walking around and I'm like, I'm on a boat.
Yeah,
Like, just
gabapentin's like a seizure medication, I think.
they're both anticonvulsants,
Yeah.
which is odd because I have to prop my phone up because I'm convulsing. But the pain is a lot more manageable, and it's just something I need to go through or whatever. So I've been kind of, yeah, that's why I was late. I was on a boat, I guess. but
No worries.
But yeah, I do need
No,
to start doing these, and the nostalgia and everything. Kind of remember who I am, or was, or am, or whatever. But yeah, I've got a lot of good podcasts, and I think this is going to help trigger that and go back and because yeah, there is a sense of nostalgia, and I miss that girl. I think
Tell me more about the book. What'd you write about?
I've been writing about domestic violence and what happens when people call for help and how the state exploits those situations and how CPS is kidnapping children and trafficking them literally. Less than 20% of the kids that are taken that are actually in danger. A lot of the other people are, kids are, neglect. And it is a business model that has been built on how much money they can get special needs kids, large sibling sets, young kids. Their business model is literally built on adopting children out. And, abused kids are a lot harder to adopt out because they have some behavioral issues and they really need help, which is who they should be focusing on. So yeah, it's pretty much about CPS and how they're kidnapping and trafficking children and what happens when people call and just like addressing the issue of just the like all of that and the shame and guilt and how they're treated when they do try to get out and narcissistic abuse, not like the narcissism that you hear thrown around, but like actual narcissistic abuse and coercive control and stuff like that. So not the happiest of things, but
it sounds heavy.
It is heavy. But it's important. People don't know. I've always known CPS was corrupt. A lot of my old podcasts, I'm talking about law enforcement and all these different things, and I would say but what I'm really afraid of is CPS and family court. There is no due process. There is no accountability. There is no oversight, and it's just outright child trafficking.
And I would guess it's such a limited number of specialized judges who handle those. So it's probably easy to corrupt it because it's such a limited number. You can like just get right to the top and like hit it. So with that, how did you get, I mean, I'm assuming you experienced these types of things.
Yeah, but these women, people in these situations, they can't talk about their cases because if you talk about their case, they'll put you in prison. So there's only so many things I can.
So they're under a gag order by assumption without being told that, or how?
No, I've been told, but there's things I can talk about, like my experience, with my ex and getting out, and how this should be a success story. I got the house, I got the SUV, I got the job, I did all the things I was supposed to do, and yeah.
Did you get to keep the tires?
I did not keep the tires. I think they're back in Sugar Creek.
I have to address this from Derek real quick. If I may, just care about, I hope we get clarification, but do you care about police interactions with those who need medical attention? I would hope anyone who has medical expertise, who sees someone who needs medical attention would help, regardless if they're a police officer or not. So Derek, I don't know if that's what you're asking about that, because the question I think is kind of from a libertarian mindset of how we oppose the state as a whole, but like, I think it's also like balancing between humanity and statism, I guess.
I will say that they are pathologizing autism symptoms like elopement incidents, and they're going and kidnapping those children, and they're exploiting autism a lot.
100. They're talking about autism possibly being some kind of forced, evolution in a way, because you're hearing about telepathy tapes and all this other stuff, and you're seeing some interesting things between, nonverbal children.
I think it could be like nature's way of trying to correct itself. Same with ADHD and autism. I think maybe it may be a good portion of it. I think it gets lumped together with brain injury. I think people with certain MTFH or whatever gene thing like that.
I got hit in the head and I see visions. Yeah, that's what happened to me.
I think it's lumped together, but I do think it very well could just be like superior software running on standard hardware. I mean, we've only had like lights available with the light switch for the last hour. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things going on, and I do think that it could be like nature's way of trying to like correct itself from narcissism, like actual narcissism. I don't know. I have my own little theories on that. I guess autism is.
Nature
I'm
tends to have a lot of
autistic,
corrective forces, right? I mean,
Right.
nature does get in the way in a lot of ways. So it's interesting how evolution corrects itself in some ways. What was that one that Brent talked about where like it changes, like people all of a sudden like all have girls or have like a lot of children, and some people stop having children. What was that one? There was like a biogenesis.
I don't remember.
I
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it was called.
I forget the term, but anyway, it's something like that where there's like almost like a self-correcting evolutionary mechanism.
No, we're just mere humans. We don't really know. But I have autistic I have identical twins that have, you know, rather significant symptoms, and they're savants. Like, without exaggeration, they are extremely intelligent. They have perfect pitch. At 4, Pollux could, you know, follow along. We've been doing music lessons their whole life, though, but can follow along and read complex sheet music. You know, they know their solfege hand signs, do, re, mi, fa. You know, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. Hyperlexic. Castor, they're all hyperlexic. Castor has been able to write his alphabet since long before. They'll be able to, you know, read and write long before maybe having like small talk, which, you know, small talk isn't that great anyways, but truly fascinating.
Yeah. Well, small talk's important, but not vital, unfortunately.
Conversational speech will come. They'll get there.
Yeah, that's so funny because when you talk about like homeschooling something, they have like adult talk, and then they talk to children. Like, I can't talk to these children. It's funny how that happens. But William wanted to share heavy subject matter. Good luck, Tony, and Godspeed on your book. Now, also want to share William's coming on Knocked Conscious on the 30th, next Thursday. And in 2 weeks, and he's actually going to talk about his son, who I believe is on the spectrum, right, William? Feel free to share that in the comments. But he's going to share about that. We're going to go a little woo about that. So it's really interesting that you talk about it today, and William's on early today. So.
Yeah, get a hold of me. I'm supposed to like even out.
Oh, like Coin Lisa. There you go.
And yeah, I'd love to watch it. And yeah, I need to get.
So we got you in touch with Spike, right? Did you actually get in contact with Spike, or did you just have his contact?
I started to write the things down, and it was so heavy I couldn't even finish.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I can imagine.
But I need to get back to. I don't know. I need to re-listen to my stuff and pull my head out of my ass and get used to these weird things that I'm on now. But it should help a lot. Honestly, I just have to get used to it, and there is some value in Western medicine. And I could not function that way.
Sometimes there is. Yeah, I mean, in sometimes it's very much a scam, and then in a lot of ways, in certain things, it really can be helpful.
In emergency situations, you know, like I was very grateful to be able to have a C-section at Cedars-Sinai with the best doctors in the world with my twins, and then, you know, Griffin, my youngest son, and, you know, there's, you know, it's the insurance company that really get in the way of a lot of things. But there is good healthcare out there. You generally have to pay out of pocket, and I'll get it figured out. But yeah, I do apologize for my punctuality.
No, you're good. And when it comes to healthcare too, like especially insurance, I've noticed that there's a trend right now of doctors' offices, and they're going to this thing they're calling concierge care, where basically like you're joining a club and you're paying a monthly membership because the insurance industry is so broken that instead of fixing it and making it work the way that it should work, they're like, we're just going to do this other thing where you just pay us money per month. We give you these benefits from like, it's like a membership. Yeah. And it's really disheartening because obviously insurance is so expensive as it is, and people struggle to pay for health insurance as it is. But so, you know, you get health insurance and it's essentially useless, not completely, but you know, for the most part, it's useless when you want to go to like preventative care. And so many of these doctors are going to this concierge service. And personally, like I refuse to partake in that. Like I really feel like just my protest is like, if we're going to have health insurance, let's fix it before we just abandon it and make people keep paying for it and then switch to this other model. But it's getting harder and harder to find a good like primary care doctor that isn't doing that. And it's like, especially on the West Coast, it's been a very big thing that's been happening.
Yeah, I've had some conversations with. I mean, like, the doctors that delivered, my boys and such. They delivered like Halsey and the Kardashians, the bougie. Well, I used to say it was the rude. Never mind. Bougie. No, anyways.
I know.
But,
At Cedar
yeah,
Sinai,
if they're
I'm
looking to
very
get a good
familiar.
doctor. They can't. The insurance agencies are telling them, especially in the hospitals, what they can and can't do. They're not able to give health care, and that's a trip. But yeah, the best doctors are probably going to be out of pocket cash or this concierge service, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm gonna have to go to Mexico, I think, and I think doing that sequencing thing to read through and get like a better understanding of my genetics, and then the AI MRIs in Mexico. Probably my best bet, and that way I can at least bring information to a doctor. Because as far as just going and getting an MRI, I don't know. I don't do good with like the bureaucracy of shit, just in general. So,
welcome to the club.
Right. Right, but
it is amazing too, like how much information we have at our disposal now. Where, I mean, yeah, the joke used to be like you go to WebMD and everything said, "Oh, you got cancer, you're gonna die." But now, like, there's so much diagnostic tools with AI and with so many things where you can go to a doctor and kind of tell them what you want them to do, and at least give them a starting point more than you ever could in history before.
It was great during COVID.
Yeah.
How educated
how
educated did we all make ourselves as we were struggling with the thought of whether we were going to kill our grandmother or not if we did or did not eat this thing? Like every day I would look for some way. Can I talk myself into it? Because I feel like an asshole, but I can't. I just can't fucking do it. I just can't do it. And then when the doctor would push it on me, I'd be like, "You're wrong. No, that's not how this works."
That's when we bought the school bus. Like, we were prepared to lose our income because we were in California, and that was one thing I appreciated about my husband. He was spirited. He was not going to get the shot, and good for him. But he was like a medical hero or whatever. So we got to travel. Traffic was great in Southern California. There was nobody in the hotels. It was cheap. We got all these hotels along, like, the ocean and everything. Some of the best memories of my life were during COVID. I need to remember that. But yeah, I traveled all over with my kids. And see, I'd already gone through the existential threat or whatever doom, back. I've been a tinfoil hatter since I was 14, So COVID came along, and I'm just like, told you so.
How did you don the tinfoil at 14, 13? First of all, just being a female is like unique in the 13-year-old, I don't know, tinfoil hat world. So start there if you could. I don't even know. Do you have brothers? How did you grow up? Like,
no, I'm the oldest. I think it's just an autism thing. In eighth, I think it was eighth grade, I took a IQ test, and this was like the second or third time I ever altered my state of consciousness. It was on my mom's Xanax, right? I didn't know much about that. I hadn't learned about Arrowhead yet, and all I knew is that there were these tiny little pink pills, right? And I'd heard something could happen if so I figured because they're legal, you'd have to take a lot, right? So the first time I ever altered my state of consciousness, I took 7 of these little peach Xanax, which is almost 2 bars of Xanax. So the third time I ever altered my state of consciousness was not that much, but maybe closer to a bar. But I had to go take a psychologist, whatever, ran IQ test, and it was a few points away from a Mensa invitation. I've just always been, was one of the first of my generation, on a computer. When I was young, I probably sat in front of the computer where I wasn't at school. Thank God, because when I was out running around, anyways, my mom used to say I collected the strays, or I got along. I could get along with anybody, but I don't know. I sat on the computer a lot. I think a lot of it started with angst, like regarding religion, and kind of like anti-Christian, but just seeing things for what they were and noticing everybody else was not, and feeling a lot of frustration. But as far as I'd say my first influences that really stuck with me, that resounded as true, were George Carlin. George Carlin changed my life. I love that man dearly. I
100%. It's a
pick him up
big
and give him a
fucking
hug
club,
today.
and you ain't in it.
Yeah,
That's-
and Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura was influential.
when he
back
wasn't
then.
super crazy. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
back when I was
don't get me
13,
wrong. Like
14.
he took a couple trips off the Niagara Falls with an open barrel. Like recently.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love that guy, but whew,
I have a lot of respect for
Yeah.
him, but yeah, I know this was a long time ago. I'm 37
Yeah.
now, so
when he was cogent.
yeah, and just being, I don't know.
I gotta
just
say
being
too, like
peaceful.
I relate to what you're saying as far as like seeing things for what they are, and I was never really anti-Christian per se. I mean, maybe I was in my early 20s, more of a, for lack of a better way to label it. But I grew up like the Christian house. In fact, to tie this into where you're at, if you're in Forest Falls, I went to that Forest Home
Oh yeah,
Christian camp. I mean, multiple years in a row. That was some of the better memories when I was a kid. I'm about 10 years older than you are. So, I mean, I remember that quite a bit and those being good times, but I do remember like teenage years into my early 20s, I really felt like I was seeing things for what they really were. And it seemed like most people weren't. And I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah. Yes.
I thank you for bringing that up, Jake. What about, I want to delve into that anti-Christian thing. I am an anti-theist because theism to me is the human like understanding or definition of whatever that spirituality is, which we ain't got it right. It's way beyond our understanding right now. So I'd love to hear what the anti-Christian is and what is what kind of is your worldview in that way from that perspective?
With that, I've just I've been exposed to somebody that actually studied the language that the Bible was written in, and that it's all metaphorical. It has more to do with astrology than actual people. And yeah, growing up in the Bible Belt in the Midwest, it just didn't make sense to me, and that's why. So now that I'm older, I have a much more more humble, or I don't know, spiritual aspects and stuff like that. I find like Christian Gnosticism interesting. I studied religions and philosophies for fun. So while most people were watching VH1, I was reading about Taoism and just a fucking nerd. May not look like it, a big nerd. Yeah, just a nerd.
It's
and
crazy
so
the shell that the nerd comes in. Like nerds come in all shapes. I've seen like super athletic people, like like all different shapes inside. It's crazy, like the personalities and the genetics that are actually inside the other genetics that make up your physique, which totally separate from your personality. It's astonishing.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, now at this point, I was exposed. I was married to somebody that was kind of similar in that sense, I guess, and studied religions. And I mean, he had like a bookstore at one point with the Freemason thing, I guess. I don't know much about that, barely. There were red flags, okay. But yeah, especially it's fascinating to me.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to jump in here. Oh, I'm sorry, Derek. We can talk. We can do a Jordan Peterson. I've done a couple Jordan Peterson breakdowns. Love to talk about it with you, Derek. I just thought that's great. We're not shitting on faith, man. Let me be 100% clear. Your direct faith with whatever you believe, man, that is your thing. The problem is humans fucking institutionalize it and they have to collect it. Like you don't need a middleman for that shit. Just have your faith. Just have your faith. You don't need someone to collect 10% of your shit and whatever. None of that needs to happen, man. You can do it without that.
It's blind faith is dangerous. That's supposedly what sends planes in the buildings and stuff. I'm not like shitting on on people's but if you're gonna live by something, I don't know, learn at least lean into the language it was written in and like really get into it. Like I shouldn't know more about Christianity than Christians, or not that I do, but I mean I understand.
I would argue though that the plane.
Go ahead.
I'd argue that the plane flyers though did they were institutionalized to have this directed way of thinking about it versus just having faith, right? Like
Sure,
that's where it's
yeah.
interesting. You know what I
And
mean?
I would add
Blindfolded
too. I'd add too for Derek, especially like the way I look at it. We've talked about this on the show before. I think organized religions are just kind of, to Mark's point, like a human being's version of trying to explain something they can't explain. And whatever that connection is going to be with the universe, with God, with whatever spirit, whatever that energy is that you connect with, that should be the pure connection between you and whatever that thing is. And I think where it gets really goofy and woo-woo is when you get into organized structure religion that people create, where now there's this set of rules that you have to go by, and there's a litmus test of, if you don't do this stuff, you're not Christian enough, or you're not this enough. And that's where I come from, Derek, just to clear that up for you.
I think God was created by man for man to control the masses. I can't remember who said that, but that was profound for me to understand when I was younger. Or that, what was another one? Man wasn't created in God's image. God was created in man's image, and we've never worshipped anything but our goddamn selves, or something to that effect. I'm not shitting on people that find comfort and understanding and all of that. I just, anybody that's telling you what to think and what not to think, or if you get offended or afraid when people start talking, just really think about it, and I don't mean that backhanded at all. I definitely, as I get older, there's definitely value in that. I don't know. I'm not trying to insult anybody.
I do. No, and regarding Jordan Peterson as well, I do want to. I have no idea what's going on with him recently. I haven't seen anything recent, but my understanding is he's had some pretty challenging health things. He was brilliant when he was being attacked. I want to be 100% clear. He had the courage to stand up the way he did, but there was a crested area where he became the thing. It's just like Nietzsche. He became the thing that he countered, to the point where he actually asked people about guidelines when his whole thing was about fighting compelled speech. It's like it's just complete, like the one thing that brought him to prominence is the one thing that kind of I saw the beginning of his destruction in that way. But I do hope that he's better or getting better, because he does have a great mind.
I have such love. I do have such love for
Ben
Jordan
Shapiro.
Yes.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Jordan? Why would you blame me? That's ridiculous. If anybody, it's Mark Levin. He's the one who looks like a piece of moldy bread on his head.
I digress.
Bruja, shh. Come here, Vinaki.
Anyway, so what else we got? Anything else we got, sir? Anything else we want to cover? Tony, is there any topic or
what took you up to Forest Hills?
Ow! Don't get me. I studied long and hard looking for a place in Southern California that I would actually want to fucking live. I found myself in a weird state where I knew nobody, and dying in a ditch wasn't the option. Sorry. I mean, anyway, but seriously, and I studied long and hard to find a place in Southern California where I'd actually want to live, and I found a small town where plants actually want to live. Yeah, autistic hyperfixation. And
I mean, as far as Southern California goes, to be in Southern California without being like in Southern California, that is the spot to be. Like, you're away from Big Bear and all the tourists. You're away from Arrowhead. You're close enough to get to it if you want to. You're at a little bit of elevation so that you can kind of, escape a little bit, but also you're not completely out. I mean, you've definitely done your homework, and I think you arrived at a hell of a spot, because that's a great place to be.
Yeah, I'd never been in a situation where someone was like, here's your budget. Where do you want to live? Go pick out a house. Same thing with the car. I understood the assignment. And yeah, I think I nailed it. It's a small little town. There's like less than 1,500 people here. I'm still 20 minutes from Yucaipa. It's not a place where they're going to expand, Sometimes there's some reminders that I am in Southern California, around Californians. But for the most part, I don't know. I love it. And there's bears I love it. I love it.
I almost died on that mountain once, but that's another story.
I
think we need to share that story.
Me too.
So,
some time.
We used to go. I grew up in Ventura, Tony. So what we used to do is every Christmas, I'm the oldest, so myself and my brothers that are a little bit younger than me, every Christmas day, after we do stuff with our parents, like the Christmas afternoon, we would drive up to Big Bear and go snowboarding for a few days. One of the years we were going up there, it wasn't cold enough that it was snowing. It was just raining. And it was like complete torrential rain where it was washing out roads. There were so many dry needles from the trees that were getting washed off in the rain that they were covering all the markings on the road. So we were up there driving, trying to get to Big Bear, couldn't get there. The road was closed because of washout. So we ended up going around kind of through Arrowhead, and I got to a place where we literally couldn't see the lines, like the yellow lines, the white line that kind of lets you know where the edge is. And it's, it's really windy up there. Anyway, got to a spot where there was a car like directly in front of us we were following, and the car slams on his brakes at the last second and like started to teeter over the edge of the road because you couldn't see that the road was turning. And long story short, we ended up getting out of it. We were right behind the car that almost went over. We couldn't even get up to Big Bear, so we drove all the way back to Ventura, about 2.5 hours. By the time we got back, I looked, and the next morning there was a whole news story about 2 people that had died on that mountain that night by their cars going over the edge and because of the washed out road. So we were in the middle of all that, and that was the time that I got to test my driving skills the most. For
Right?
sure.
Yeah, I stay put. There are mudslides out here, but yeah, if it's raining or snowing, I stay put and I'm good to go. I mean, I've got a generator. That was the first thing I bought when I moved out here. I had a feeling. I was like, I know myself. I'm going to start buying furniture, and I'm not going to get it. That was the first thing I bought was a generator. That saved my ass this winter.
Do you have Starlink too?
I have Starlink.
Yeah, so generator and Starlink, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. It's an easy little plug-in right into the generator, and it's got decks all the way around. It's perfect, and I don't know. I got it for my kids, and they should be here already. It's fucked up, but I wrote a book about it because I can't talk about it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So
can you tell us about that? Yeah, what's the book called?
Are you going to self-publish this? Are you trying to get it published?
I was going to self-publish, but I have I can't remember. But I've been talking to a company that wants to help me publish it, which is really flattering, and will help me with like podcasts and stuff like that. I've been a writer my whole life. I think I'm probably fairly decent at it. I'm definitely way better at writing than I am trying to articulate myself through thought. And so this was my first podcast. Like, I got to get used to, doing this again. So once I'm ready to publish, I'll come back and be here on time, 15 minutes early even, and not slurring and whatnot.
Yeah, we'd love to follow up when you get the book out for sure.
I don't know. I think I'll call it "Why Don't You Just Leave" or something. I don't know. But I'm almost done with it. I squirreled away. I was like, I disappeared, basically for 2 months and squirreled away. And instead of like info dumping on all my friends and all of that, trauma dumping, whatever, I just started writing a book. And
good for you. That's a hell of an accomplishment.
Thank you.
100. So what we should do, you're right next to Vegas. Come to Vegas Freedom Fest, July 8th to the 12th. Jake and I are having If by Whiskey live. Come on out. We've got a bunch of people sign up for it. Whiskey 100 gets you $100 off. That's still with an E, I think, unfortunately, Jake. We didn't get it without the E, but
that's okay.
Whiskey 100 gets $100 off. Come to Freedom Fest. Even if you just come as media, and you will get even, you can work out those things with Valerie.
I've done that, yeah. I've got a little media pass in my trunk even.
Yeah, so come on out for that. We have such a huge group of people in the liberty movement, I would call it. I hate to say libertarian, all the labeling, but general liberty, freedom-ish movement. Come on out, that would be probably a great time to have that.
I'm a burnout, has-been, B-list libertarian, I think is what I used to call it. Burnout, has-been, B-list libertarian. Yeah, no, I totally get it. The liberty movement.
Libertarian.
Yeah, I'd definitely say probably more philosophical anarchist, voluntarist, agorist. I don't know what I am now. I'm trying to figure out how to, adapt to the world I live in. I'm not as black and white anymore. I did my taxes, and they didn't send me my refund. But anyways, I'm trying to do the thing.
Well, we genuinely appreciate you coming on the show for sure and talking to us, telling us about your journey. There's definitely a lot to unpack there. I feel like if we could do like a series of interviews and get to the bottom of more, your story. It sounds like you've lived a lot of life in a really good way.
Yeah, that's probably an accurate description.
Awesome. Well, anything you want to cover before we go?
Nope, I don't know. I'm getting a bunch of calls and stuff, so I should probably let some people know I'm not dead. Because it's been a weird week. But I appreciate you guys letting me on. Sorry for being late, and I'll definitely do it again and be more punctual.
No worries.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day. Take care.
You too. Have a good one. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Jay. So here we go. So media right now, Derek, the whiskey 100 is the same price. We have to pay to do media. So with the $100 off, it's like this. It's like a wash. So we can't get that. So and Richie Rich is in.
What's up, Rich?
Anyway,
Rich, tell Amalia I said hello.
Yeah.
What we
got?
I knew nothing about her. That was an interesting story. Like to hear somebody who's kind of gone through a lot of that stuff. I feel for her with like trying to find medications too that are dealing with that. That's I'm impressed that she honestly even showed up and was able to have a conversation because some of those medications are rough. So hats off for sure.
Yeah. And she came on. It's funny because she's been in my Facebook like scatterings because like you have the people who like Ron Paul, like, you know how it actually is a pretty crazy algorithm how like these people sniff out your friends. I mean, it's pretty impressive. But anyway, she came across there and I hadn't contacted her or anything, friend or anything. She just saw her around. And then she was on a Spaces. I think it was Mad Dog and Gnome Spaces. And it was the one with Spike. Spike Cohen was on there. And then they talked. And then I was like, well, let's go on the show. Because same thing. I didn't know. I knew she has a hard time articulating in like real time. She's much better with her thoughts, like writing them down and rewriting them and things about that.
Oh, I'm sure. I had to jump back to this comment for earlier from music.
I saw that too. I love the Amish, so they're great.
I mean, their furniture is really expensive, but
it's true.
Other than that, I mean, the Amish have like zero autism in their community. Extremely good family values. I don't know really anything about them beyond the surface of things. I got nothing but respect for him. If you're still driving a horse and buggy in 2026 and living that way, like more power to you. They probably got something figured out where life is a lot simpler and, their family units are a lot more intact and they're healthier than most people. So there's definitely something to that. But beyond that, I really don't know much about them, but no shade on the Amish at all. I'm impressed.
Well, I mean, this is what I know about them, but then I'll expound on it.
We don't have a cow. We have a bull.
Sorry, it was just I just
that
found
was quick.
it.
That was good. It was quick.
I found it in the little. I just go. I remember I did this. So no, but I actually my aunt and uncle had a dairy farm in Western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And neighbors were Amish and everything. And look, this is the thing, that average life expectancy, the reason that it was low is because like a lot of people died at young ages being eaten by bears or like dysentery literally or getting sick or dying at childbirth. Once you solve those things like washing your hands and like generally living a clean life, 90% of the life expectancy is that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But their quality of life is so much higher than ours. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they just don't wake up one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like nothing happened and they just don't wake up,
I'd be fine with
to
that.
your point. Yeah. And to your point, they don't cross, like they understand it's not like first cousin marriages, like in the Muslim world where that's a challenge. There's no other crossbreeding. They're very separate, like doing that stuff, like not doing like, so it's a lot smarter than people give it credit for, I think.
Agreed.
Anyway, so what else we got, man? Anything else you want to share before we call? That was pretty cool. It was cool to see, like, to try to get somebody first, you know what I mean? Because I know that she's starting to kind of come back again, you know, and it's good to see that. So, and then next week, John Graham, this guy, I don't know if you saw any of his stuff, but I watched a couple of his podcasts, and he seems like he's going to be so interesting. I don't know, interesting is probably the best word I can think of.
I'm looking forward.
He's also lived a life. Yeah, I'm me too, man. So what else you got before we call? I mean, I know you always you look forward to this time. I always do. Do we have any extra topics we want to cover?
No, I mean, I'm almost done with moving stuff down. Our house goes up for sale in Washington tomorrow. So I've got all the cars down here now to Oregon. I drove the last one down today. No, man, just supporting the wife. She's in the first trimester, so it's a lot of morning sickness and a lot of that stuff. So I'm really trying to kind of help out, and she's almost out of the woods on that. But no, man, my 14-month-old is just learning something new every single day. I'm genuinely enjoying the little kid phase again. There's a lot to it, and you know, I mean, my oldest is 22, so it's been a while since I've done that. My other one is 10, so like I didn't forget, but it's almost like, you know, it's like the riding a bike thing. Like when you have little kids who are like every day, every week, they're learning new stuff. You kind of forget what that's like till you go through it again. And it's really amazing to see. My daughter just always wants to go outside. She always wants to go play. She pointed her shoes. She wants her shoes on. Like she's all about it. And I love that a kid's like has that natural desire to go out and play. I will tell you, William, about this farm thing. I don't know.
Yes, John Graham also, just to be clear.
I don't know a ton about here. Here's what I'll tell you, though. They're trying to pass a law in Oregon to not let people hunt on their own land, which is crazy. Like you would think Oregon, of all places, like there's a lot of wide open spaces in Oregon, and there's a lot of people that have big properties, but they're trying to pass a bill that says you can't hunt on your own land, which is I don't think it's going to pass. I don't know really enough about it yet. I can't vote here yet because I'm still a Washington resident until I get fully moved and I switch my ID over and everything. But I do know that they're trying to pass that. I also know that they're trying to get rid of the ridiculous governor, and they're trying to have a Republican win governor again here in Oregon, which, you know, two wings, same bird. We'll see what happens. But the one we've got now is Portland to a T.
I know that very well. Route 81 South, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I'm very familiar with it. Took 81 down to Tennessee before I went. I've driven cross country 6 times, so I took that.
Stop and buy a $4,000 dresser, Derek.
Get one of those cool fireplaces now that they sell with the cool woodworking on it, and then the
those
electricity.
Are cool.
I know those are fucking awesome. It's funny they can sell those, but they can't use them. Isn't
right?
that interesting? But anyway, so
no, man,
I gotta figure out what's the good side on this. Okay, there's the wide, tall. There it goes. Okay, I'm trying to stretch it so it's working right because it looks kind of funky.
I try and stretch it too. It's nothing I can do.
Yeah, guy goes to the doctor and he's like, I can't see. I'm getting so fat I can't see my thing when I go to the bathroom anymore. Doctor's like, diet. And he goes, it doesn't matter what color it is, doctor. I still can't see it.
But
it's just such a bad dad joke. Boom. So anyway, man.
That's a good way. That's a good way to go out.
Yeah, it's a good way. We'll just end it on that. But man, this has been fun. So we've got John Graham next week. Like I said, he's been like some military dude, firefighter. I don't know what the heck. It's like he reached out to me. So I'm fascinated by people who have that much energy to yell at me. So I'm curious if he's just going to yell in a good way, like energetic yell.
Talk with him. I want to get back when William's back again. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so the 29th. Who do we have on the 29th again?
My buddy Colin is coming on the 29th. I'm getting the details from him to get his email so we can get him an invite. But Colin's a fascinating guy. He's he goes by Brainzilla on X, and he's a very well spoken, very well thought. You know, I don't really engage with people on X as much, like to fight. It's just I just don't have the. I mean, I'm impressed with some of the conversations you have on Facebook that you share with me, because there's some bangers in there for sure. I don't have the I used to do it. I just don't have it anymore. But Colin is really good at like just breaking people down step by step, and there's an art to it, and I don't have it.
There is an art to it, and I'm not good at it. I'm terrible at it, but I use it to hone my ideas so I can verbalize them as well, right? So like I use it as a debate tool to sharpen my debate stuff.
Are you for body cams, Mark?
I mean, I don't see why not, but it's like, I mean, I'm not for police really the way we have them. So, I mean, yeah, I, how about you? You tell me your thoughts. I would say, considering we have the police, body cam footage is additional information. So I don't see it being a bad thing.
It's very much in the spirit of the system that we have versus the system that we should have. In the system that we have, I think body cams are a good addition. It kind of keeps everybody honest for the most part. I do wish they were just constantly live streaming though. I wish they weren't a recorded thing that you have to wait and, you know, get a
turn them on, turn them off.
Yeah,
Right.
like you shouldn't have to request that footage. If they're really public servants and they're being paid by tax dollars and they work for us, those cameras should just live stream at all times.
Yeah, correct. On the clock, you've already consented that as your job. That's
correct.
That's what you've consented to as part. It's a condition of employment.
It shouldn't be like a
you can
dash cam
consent to
where
not
like
do that job.
you don't get the footage till there's a shooting. Like there should be,
Right.
you should be able, because the problem is we get a piece of footage and it gets clipped up so much for the story that it spins a narrative before it even gets to court. It spins a narrative before the truth gets to come out. Whereas if you just had a live stream of that body cam and you could watch it instantly as soon as something happened and watch the run up to it, to an escalation, all of that, like that would be the way to really utilize them the best, I think.
I totally agree. And to your point, live stream at all costs, every officer with their name, like first name, initial, whatever. So you know who everyone they are, what department they're part of. You can log into a suit, and it would just be consensual, because like how many people do, like how many stories have you heard is like, hey, I'll let you get off with a ticket if you do this favor for me.
Yeah, make
Where
them
it's
all
like,
Twitch streamers.
It's not exactly consensual. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, and how about this? This is fascinating. If you watch America Manhunt about the Boston Marathon, I'm the guy that comments about the picture of bombers. I have to look that up because that's fascinating. And boy, you should read the stuff about Scott Horton writes about the bombers. And yeah.
Here's the last thing
here.
I'll give you before we wrap this. I just finished last night on Netflix. There is a 3-part thing called something about the Godfathers. It's all about the 5 families in New York, all about the history of the mafia and like how it came about, who the leaders of the families were, and all the mob wars and stuff. It was super fascinating. It just came out and I finished it already. It's 3 episodes, but I recommend that.
Cool. Well, that sounds awesome. I will have to take a look at that as well. So then we got 2 more. Then we have the 6th of May. We've got Dominic Scarcella, I think is the correct way to say it. And then 5/13, Natalie Morris of Redacted. That's going to be that's going to be another banger, man. I'm excited for that. So
that'll be wonderful.
Been watching a lot more Redacted lately. Have you been watching their shows? Like, holy crap, the stuff that they're just open to talk about. I just love the openness of it.
Yes, absolutely agree. The thing for me is there is so much content. Like every time I see one, I'm like, man, I want to watch this. And it's 45 minutes long. It's like, I don't have that kind of time right now.
I totally get that too. Totally good. So Derek, thanks for joining. Hey man, we're turning you slowly. The Titanic is turning. We're going to avoid that iceberg known as government. We're going to keep turning that rudder for you. Another If by Whiskey, man, in the books, dude. Thanks for doing this, Jake. This has been fun. How can we get a hold of you, sir? How can we get a hold of you? And yeah,
I am only on X at Whiskey Smiles. I don't play Facebook or Instagram. Or much to my family's chagrin, they like to send me links I can't open, but I stick with X for now. And I wasn't on any social media for quite a while, so the only place to find me is X or here on this show.
All right, and it's whiskey without the E. Remember, Whiskey Smiles, WHISKY.
Yeah, like Scotch whiskey.
Like Scotch whiskey. And then obviously, I did want to share that Facebook interaction between that gentleman. By the way, I will just share the update. I got into a Facebook, I don't know, something kerfuffle. I might just share it, black out the guy's name, because the guy deleted it and then deleted his entire Facebook account.
Oh man,
I cannot find him. I like literally searched him on a third-party computer, like as like a nobody, looking for the guy on Facebook, and he's not there. So when that last thing where I'm like, hey, it's good to know that your constituents who won't vote for you know who they're not voting for because you're a psychopath. That part, I think that kind of hit him the right way. So it's interesting.
Derek makes a good point too, real quick. I think it's technically today. It's April 15th that the Titanic sunk because it was early in the morning. But April 15th is tax day, Titanic day, and also my parents' anniversary before they got divorced. So they were jinxed from the start.
Wow, it sounds horrible, man. That sounds like they were. They're like, let's do it on Titanic and tax day. This is perfect. Right. Let's file jointly.
Doomed from the beginning. Well, thank you, sir. It's always good. I'm looking forward to it next week too.
Thank you, gentlemen. Sir, sorry, gentlemen. Gentlemen in the chat, sir, thank you. I just saw because I was like, gentlemen, because William here. Thank you, sir. Well, we've got William on the 30th on Thursday, so that'll be fun. But on the 30th, correct? Yeah, after who's the gentleman again on the 29th? I just need to get the name in my head. Colin. But no, what's he go as at something
Brainzilla.
Brainzilla. That's what it is. No, when I read it, it's so cool. It's cool. So awesome. Everyone, another If by Whiskey. Thanks so much, Jake. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this Wednesday night. This has been If by Whiskey, and we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Subscribe to If by Whiskey. Fuck Liberty Lockdown. Subscribe to this show.
No, come on!